thought, well, am I dead or am I alive? And I thought, well, if I'm dead, there's no pain, no blood, no smoke, no nothing, all except this beautiful white light. And I thought, well, if I am alive, I looked up at the clock, which was over on this side of the wall, and it was 08:15 hours, and I've since learned plus 17 seconds on the 6th of August 1945. And what was it? It was a new type of bomb the Americans had just landed on the nearby city of Hiroshima. Bert said to me, "What did you do? Did you do anything to the fuse box?" I said, "No." So we walked out the northeastern door, and we were hit by a wave of hot air. Then we looked up, and just emerging over the horizon was this odd-looking mushroom-shaped cloud.
So how far do you know how many kilometres?
It was around about 80 kilometres. Yeah.
Yes.
But World War II was over.
Yes. Well, almost.
Yeah.
The war, yeah. You had another bomb to follow that.
What happened there was, and I've only found this out in recent years, why did they drop the second bomb on Nagasaki? Because, and I've got a copy of it here, about 10 days before we read out the execution order. If an American or an Allied soldier had landed on either of the 4 islands of Japan, we were all to be executed. And the Japs still wanted to execute us, so they put another one down on Nagasaki to show them. That was on the 9th. Then on the 15th they capitulated absolutely. So
now so let's say that's the 15th of August.
Yeah. That was the 15th of August.
Yes, so that when the Emperor put the hand up.
Yeah.
Now, how long was it before you started moving back to Australia?
31 days. We were in the camp for 31 days. Now, that cloud was only just starting to disperse after 31 days. Because if you see an aeroplane writing a sign in the sky, let's say football, by the time he put the last L in, the F was just about breaking up. But here, it took 31 days. It was still there. Then,
what was the route that you to come home?
We came from from the port of Wakayama. Now, if we'd have been taken from Ohama to Wakayama along the sea coast, we would have had to have gone through Hiroshima. But they took us on a 300-mile trip right north round the northern coast, then down through Kyoto to Wakayama. When it came breakfast time, we came to a railway station called Totori, and a female voice said, "This is Totori. We welcome you to Totori. We have something nice for you at Totori." And now I will sing you a song. When it's lamp lighting time in the valley. So again, we thought we were going to get a good feed, but it was rice again. Yeah. Then we were taken from then on. It must have been probably 12 or 1 o'clock by the time we got to Wakayama. Now when we got to Wakayama, a town or city the size of Melbourne, all that was left of it was the railway station, about the size of Mitcham here in Victoria, and a high-rise building down on the waterfront. The rest of it was just one blackened sea of ash. How many died there, they didn't even bother to count them. They know that 140,000 I think died at Hiroshima, but they didn't even bother to count them in Wakayama.
And what ship did you board?
We boarded the United States Hospital ship Consolation. Now, Consolation was one of the most beautiful ships I've ever been on. Usually when you go on a ship you'll see ropes and pulleys and rigging, but that was all there against the walls, but it all had like behind cupboards. And also they had nurses, we called them angels. They were just so beautiful to us. And of course, remember, we hadn't seen a white woman in about 4 years.
No.
So they were literally angels.
Yes.
From there, that took us down into the South China Sea, to a floating platform. And I'm told that the Americans had these floating platforms all over the Pacific. They would put supplies on them and leave them there, and the next ship would pick them up. But this floating platform, about 100 yards across, and on the other side of it was the American troop ship. I've forgotten the name of that. But we all piled onto that, and again, let's say there was a room about 20 high that they had canvas beds of canvas, and if the fella above you was a big fella, you had to squeeze your way in, because when he sunk down, you had to, but you only got 2 meals a day on that ship. You formed a queue, and you could only go past the food point twice a day because there were that many on it. If you broke off for a sleep, or you missed out on a meal. That took us to Manila. We got to Manila and we were taken to, I think it was about 14 again miles out to what I now think was Clark Field. They had a camp there, and on the way we were to witness the preparation that they had for the invasion of Japan. There would be, they had their feeding system was, they called them K rations. They had them all done up in little boxes, and that was a man's ration for the day. And I suppose we went for 2 or 3 miles with all these boxes all piled back about 200 or 300 yards. Then the next was tyres. There'd be Jeep tyres, hundreds of thousands of them. Now on this 14 miles, this was all the preparation they had for the invasion of Japan.
Yes.
So there we were put before doctors, before Geiger counters, given out decent clothes, fed, mail, news from home, and one of the things that I noticed at the time, I have a cousin, Bob Chitty. Bob was playing for Carlton. Eric Welch was the commentator, and they were playing, and 2 or 3 times they mentioned Bob Chitty. So there we were there for around about 3 weeks, I think, because another tornado had, every day we had to strike our tents and sit on them. At night time put them back up again, but the tornado never came. But we were put on HMS, not a Majesty ship, not a Majesty Australian ship. Speaker. It was an escort carrier. Now, an escort carrier, when there's a big sea